Greetings and peace. My name is Rob Hotep, broadcasting on behalf of 13signastrology.com. Doing this video on sexual magic. It's a very popular topic, very controversial topic. Here in the Western world, we totally know nothing of sexual magic because of religion and because of religion's suppression of sexual expression, and based on the fact that religion is at war with the female, and the female is actually the key to and the secret of understanding sexual magic in modern day society. It's based on studying the feminine aspect, and when you study and understand and understand the feminine aspect, that's when you actually get into mastering sexual magic. Now, sexual magic actually has two sides to it. And as far as the origins of it, it actually originated with the ancient Egyptians, but it was taught different in ancient Egypt. And then another place that you can pick up on the sexual magic is in the ancient Hindu doctrine. Now, let me start with the ancient Egyptians. Now, the ancient Egyptians dealt with sacred sexual magic under the banner of the deity Min, M-I-N, which was an ancient Egyptian deity named Min. And this deity Min was actually the keeper of the mysteries of sexual magic. Now, in ancient Egypt, this system was basically taught to certain initiates that reached a high level of initiation. They would get introduced to the doctrine of sexual magic. And in many different parts of Kemet and Egypt, to the masses, or what you would call the neophytes, and to those that didn't know, to the profane, they basically kind of like didn't really, they basically weren't allowed to have sex for the most part. I mean, now when I say they weren't allowed to have sex, basically this means that it wasn't really a part of their system of having, it wasn't part of their culture to have sex unless children were being produced. And that's the key, unless children were being produced. So yes, they could have sex, but most of their sexual rituals revolved around producing new life. So, but then when you get into the ancient Egyptian mystery system, you had a deity called Min, and the deity Min, they dealt with, in that school of thought, they dealt with actually teaching the sexual magic aspect of how to do certain things with your sexual energy. And this wasn't taught to the public or to the profane. Like I said, to the profane, sex was limited and restricted to children and for bringing new life into the world. So when you deal with the deity Min, this is where you get the term menstrual, semen, things like that. The menses, this all goes back to the deity Min, and they taught about the female body, the menstrual cycle. They taught about, the times that you could basically have sex with a woman and not get her pregnant, and the times that, you would basically abstain from having sex with a woman if you didn't want to produce a child. And they not only taught that, but they taught the female how to tap into her sexual energy to basically be able to manifest and create and do certain things. And the male's manifestation and creation was based upon finding a female that he could practice this sexual ritual with, and they could basically come together and manifest and create certain things. And I'll try to get to that a little later in this video. So in ancient Egypt, the system was more so, like I said, taught in secret, and it was only to those that were initiated into the ancient Egyptian mystery system, in which you had to basically prove yourself to get initiated into that mystery system by abstaining from certain things, abstaining from food, by being able to fast a certain amount of time, by being able to work with your energy a certain kind of way. Now, in the Hindu system, they taught the Tantric sexual system, and actually this came, basically it was the same thing that they were teaching in the ancient Egyptian mystery system, except it would carry it over to the Hindu doctrine, and it was taught more freely and more publicly. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason why they taught their system more freely and publicly, because they were rebelling and coming out of that system of the ancient Egyptians, suppressing people and not teaching people certain information. And they wanted to just basically teach the information freely to try to, because they knew sexuality was the connection to spirituality. So they wanted to basically teach people how to work with their sexual energy so that they could become more spiritual. So they taught the Tantric system of sexual energy, and this dealt with the same thing as the ancient Egyptian mystery system under the school of Min and the deity Min. it taught basically how to work with your chakras and work with your Kundalini energy, and how to raise the Kundalini energy through the sexual experience to not only to raise your spirituality and to heighten your spiritual experience, and to not only that, but to build a bond between the male and the female, to reconnect the male and the female. Because at one point on this planet, the human was a hermaphrodite, and I talked about this in other videos. Was you had the hermaphrodites and the hermaphrodites. So at one point, the sexes of the human species were merged together into one. So when you dealt with the Tantric school of thought, you were getting back into the science of how to become one again since we were separate physically now, male and female separate, which you dealt with Shakti and Shiva being the male and Shakti being the female, or Kali and Shiva, Kali being the female and Shiva being the male. They came together to create Shakti, and basically Shakti was like a hermaphrodite, and this was like the union or the bringing together of the sexes, so we can learn how to get our energy back again and put our energy back together, because there were certain groups of beings that wanted us to remain separate according to that system, the school of thought. So when you deal with the sexual magic or whatever, those are the two sides or whatever. And like I said, the Tantric aspect came as a rebellion from the ancient Egyptian mystery system, where they taught the school and the deity under the school of men and the deity men, when they taught how to basically work with the sexual energy in secret through the chakras. They revealed this information publicly. Now, sexual magic basically can be worked two ways. You can work sexual magic from coming together with the mate that is conscious of sexual magic as well as like you, and you can come together and work sexual magic together, and by coming up with something that you guys are going to visualize prior to having sex, you come up with the ritual or visualization technique as to what you're going to visualize and create. And you basically say, for instance, you want to create $1 million. I'm just throwing this out there. I mean, it could be anything, but say, for instance, you want to create $1 million or whatever, and you want to do that. Sex is a great way of manifesting and attracting these things through visualization. So what you have to do is you have to visualize this $1 million in your mind, and as you guys go into the system of sex and raising the energy and the Kundalini energy, you have to keep this image in your mind. It's like a build-up. So when you guys climax or you have your orgasm, you are putting that $1 million out there in the universe. You're putting that energy out there through the sexual experience. You're sending that energy out. And now this process can actually take up to 3 hours, and it can take hours to get to that point if you really want to have a solid projection or a solid image sent out there into the universe that you want to attract back to you. It can take time for that to actually create it, to manifest itself or whatever. So it's like you can't just like have this lower dimensional sex that people are having, where they're just basically effing. I want to say, because I know children are watching these videos too, so where people are just effing and having lower dimensional sex, basically just penetrate, I bust my nut and you have your orgasm, and then that's just it, like 20 minutes, or even some people are having sex for 3 minutes. You can't really get into this sexual tantra like doing it like that. So it basically takes time or whatever to build up. You have to mesh your energy with your partner's energy, and it takes time to build up to that point. So this is something that is learned or whatever over time, and that's one way of performing sexual magic. And there's more to it. This is just the introduction to sexual magic. Now, the second aspect of sexual magic has nothing to do with even having sex. You can actually take your sexual energy through what they call being celibate, but I don't like the term celibacy, but I would say abstaining from having sex with the partner, especially when a male abstains from spilling semen. And you can take that energy that's, built up down in your sacral chakra, in your lower part of your chakras, which is located, you guys can't see your sacral chakra right here. That energy is located down there. You can learn how to raise that energy up. Males and females can do this by abstaining, and you can actually create with that energy as well. So you don't necessarily have to have sex to create sexual magic and to create through the science of sexual magic, because that energy is really the secret. That's the secret. I mean, for the woman, it's the yoni type of energy. You know what I'm saying? And that's really the best kept secret. And the sexuality, like I said, is really dealing with the feminine principle of withholding and learning how to attract and to be receptive. See, the feminine principle is a principle of the yin energy, which is the receptive energy. You know what I'm saying? Or what they would call the negative energy, or really what's really actually the attracting energy, believe it or not. Actually, really, it's positive energy, believe it or not. It's not negative energy, the way they like flip it, but that's a whole other story or whatever. It's really not positive energy, but you know, in science, it's actually, I mean, it's really not negative energy. The female energy is really actually positive energy. You attract with positive energy, and negative energy is you go out, you push out with negative energy. So that's really the science behind the positive and negative energy. But you learn how to work with that energy, and you can attract things through abstaining as well. You can attract things to yourself. So you can learn how to work with that energy and flip it that way too, by becoming a self-sustaining being and a self-sustaining entity. So I hope this helps. I can do a part two if you guys want me to. It's just a brief introduction into sexual magic, how it was taught by the ancients, and how to use your sexual energy for more than just getting a feeling and an orgasm, but how to use it to really create a life for yourself and a world for yourself, or a world for you and your partner if you have a partner. So I hope this helps. For more enlightening information, visit my website, 13scienceastrology.com. I thank you guys for watching. Peace, love, and prosperity.